Hi, everyone. Sherri here, and I wanted to share with you today a short video explaining what restorative yoga is and also to review the types of props that are typically used in a restorative yoga class and how you might work around some substitutions if you don't happen to have the props available. So, starting off, if you're new to restorative yoga, the concept of restorative yoga is not really about strengthening, it's not about stretching. It's all about engaging your parasympathetic nervous system. You might be familiar with the sympathetic nervous system, which is also known as our fight or flight system. And that's helped us survive as humans over many, many generations and has a wonderful purpose. However, in our modern, stressed out world, we tend to be out of balance, engaging our sympathetic nervous system far too much, leading to chronic stress and the associated ailments with that. Our parasympathetic nervous system is also known as the rest and digest system. So, literally, what it says, it helps us to digest our food, helps to do the repair necessary on our cells, all the magic that our body does. And so, with restorative yoga, really was set out to bring about relaxation as the primary focus. And with that comes a lot of focus on the breath and a focus on trying to still the mind. So, for those of you that like meditation, it's great. For those of you that would like to like meditation, I think restorative yoga is a nice alternative to a formal meditation practice or a complement to it. But for people that struggle with sitting meditation, doing poses, being cued to think about your breath in a different way, it engages that stillness of the mind, in a way that is more accessible to people. So, who is restorative yoga for? Really, everyone. Whether you are a very active athlete, whether you are very ill and recovering from, illness or sickness, everyone needs a dose of relaxation. I'll just say it, myself included. I found restorative yoga in a time in my life when I was very, very sick, and it was about the only physical activity that I could do. But by engaging that parasympathetic system, it really helped me mentally, physically, emotionally do the work that was needed to aid in my recovery. So I'm very passionate about people who are also in that position of recovery because I understand very much what it can be like. But really, we all could do with a dose of restorative yoga in our lives, even if you practice other types of yoga. So it's really for just about anybody. So the goal is not to just look like the instructor. There really isn't as much a stress on getting a pose to look correct or precise because it's all about what your body is most comfortable with. And restorative yoga is a really beautiful way to get into your body and start to learn to listen to it better. What does it want? Where am I more comfortable? And allowing yourself to get creative and maybe using props in a way that I don't even cue or prompt, but it's about finding that right fit for you. So, which is why we do use a lot of props in restorative yoga because it's about being as comfortable as possible. And that looks and feels different for just about everybody. And so, as you continue to practice, you'll find ways to make the poses speak more to you. So, let's go ahead and review some of the common props used in restorative yoga and how you might substitute them out if you don't have them on hand. And remember, don't let lack of props be a reason not to practice. You can always work around it. And by engaging in this practice, you can't do it wrong, is the way I like to think about it. Just by showing up and doing it, you're already there. So, the bread and butter of restorative yoga is the bolster. And so, I have a rectangular bolster here. If you don't have a bolster, you want something a bit firm to help support you. So, a couch cushion is actually a really nice substitute for a bolster. In a pinch, you could even fold up some blankets and towels to kind of have that more solid foundation, is what you're looking for. Some poses ask for using two bolsters, perhaps. And so, in that case, if you only have one couch cushion, you only have one bolster, depending on the pose, using a rolled up blanket could work, if it's something that's going under your knees, especially. Or you can get creative. My second bolster that I use is this big stuffed dinosaur named Dr. Mo. I find that he works great for resting under my knees. And the reason I still use him, I have a fond memory attached to him of some dear friends that sent him to me as a gift when I was really sick and recovering. So I have a lot of positive associations with Dr. Mo the dinosaur here. So that's what it's about. It's finding what brings you joy in your practice and make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it your own practice. So that's on the bolster end. I have some pillows additionally behind me. Sometimes some other cushions are nice to have on hand because we often like to close any gaps between the floor and body parts, hips especially. I use these a lot in pigeon pose. So, depending on how your body is set up and how you feel and get used to poses, you might want to even have more cushions available. I mentioned the blankets before, but it's always nice to have blankets on hand because sometimes we use them to prop our heads. We use different folds or different rolls for different reasons. So it's always nice to have a few on hand. And also, since we're working with our parasympathetic nervous system, it's common for the body to cool down temperature wise. So it can be nice to have blankets to cover with during the poses and especially with our last pose, Shavasana. Another set of props are blocks, which you may be familiar with if you've done yoga. And so it doesn't matter what type of blocks you use. There's wooden blocks, cork blocks, foam blocks, whatever you prefer and whatever's in your budget if you're buying blocks or already have them. If you don't have them, some sturdy books will do the trick and was what I used for quite some time. So my Harry Potter books I found were, especially the later ones, a really good option and replacement for blocks. And then I have the last two, what I call bonus props. And so the one is a 10-pound sandbag. I actually have two of them. These can be really nice for going deeper in a pose. Put it on your back in child's pose, on your hip in pigeon, and helps give even a deeper sense of relaxation. Some other options for a sandbag would be like a 10-pound bag of rice or other hard grain could do the trick as well. But again, that's a not need to have, that's kind of a bonus. And then finally, the last item I have is an eye mask. So you might prefer, especially in Shavasana, or if you're doing a nighttime practice, to have an eye mask to really get even more relaxed. If you're doing this for stress, it can really help that sensory deprivation to get even deeper into a pose's relaxation by using an eye mask. A substitute could be just a little hand towel folded and put over your eyes. So, a t shirt, a sock, anything could work. So, get creative, use the props to work for you. I tend to give a lot of options with props and poses, but by all means, learn to listen to your body and provide it with what it needs because that's what restorative yoga is all about. It's about nurturing yourself in each pose and learning to let go, which can seem hard sometimes. Some people with restorative yoga love it from the beginning. Others struggle with the longer holds. We can hold poses for several minutes, up to 10 minutes, if not more. And the goal is not getting a lot of sensation in the poses. They're not supposed to be painful or straining, but a lot of people don't like so much all the time in their mind. Their mind's racing. They don't like to be left alone with their thoughts. And I completely understand that. And if you're one of those people, I encourage you to stick with it and to try. I remember a coworker of mine saying that she didn't have time to attend this free time management seminar that was happening at work. So, you know, usually the people that have the hardest time stilling their minds need it the most. And I speak from very personal experience there, believe me. So allow it to be whatever it is. Be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself. Most of all, be thankful to yourself for giving this a try and taking the time out to do self care. I hope to see you in a class in one of my other videos. Be well, and thanks for taking the time to watch today. Namaste.